All right, I'm back. Welcome back. I forgot to show something that I did on the last video, and that was actually the install of the smoke tank, which my friend Bill had welded up. I think his name is Bill. Let me check. Yes, his name is Bill. And he did an awesome job welding it, and he welded the bungs on the side so I can bolt it, the pickup, the fuel cap, and I put another pickup that I had just in case we need it for something. And I also made a little bracket for the oil line. The smoke oil line goes underneath the engine, and I wanted to mount it right where it crosses over the bracket for the throttle body. Sorry, the throttle cable. And that's a 1/4 inch piece of aluminum. It's pretty hefty. And my first thought was like, oh, I just drill a hole, like the bracket that holds the cable, and put a P-clamp on it. And I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And I'm like, I don't want to drill a hole in the middle of that because it might compromise structural integrity. So I made this little clamp that actually clamps on it and holds the P-clamp. So remind me to show you those when I'm done, or before I'm done. Now what I'm doing is, if you, so I put the camera here and I'm trying to run cable. So I put this little, whatever they call it, that sleeving over it, and it has a really thin end to fit through it. And I was trying to find an elegant way to put lightweight, simple way to put fasteners to feed it along the cowl, but still have it serviceable. Like I didn't want to just fiberglass it in. So I found some aluminum tubing that I had that fits perfectly on that. So I cut it into 1-inch pieces and then just flared the ends, and then I stick them actually on the pencil tip, and I polish them with the Brillo pad. So that will, and I'm gonna basically just glue 6, 7, 8 or whatever I need of those in with the 22/16 onto the carbon fiber, and hopefully that'll give me a nice channel to run the wire through. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So this is what I am attempting to do. Glue these little things along here. I'll probably have a little S-curve to take up some slack, and then have them go there, and then this thing feeds through it. And while I have the cowl off, I'm glad you reminded me, because I can show you my fancy bracket that I made. So this needed to be supported here, and I didn't feel comfortable drilling a hole through this guy, because that would not be good if that let go at an inopportune time holding the throttle cable, and there's some tension on this anyway. So I made this out of 40, 80, 60, I don't even know, aluminum that seemed thick enough, with 2 little spacers that are just a little bit shy than this. So it's like a miniature landing gear clamp that holds that on there, and then this one runs that P-clip, the cushion clamp, to hold the oil line. And this is the oil line that comes in from the starboard side and goes over to the port side. So now quite secure, but I thought that was cool. Yes, I'm still futzing with these baffles, baffle seals I should say. So if you remember, I ordered couple extra pieces from McFarlane of this stuff, and I was kind of worried because the stuff on their website has a name written on it, and I wanted it to match this, and I called them and there's no way they could tell me if it has the name written on it or not. So I hope it doesn't, because it looks a little more uniform without it. And I made all of these retaining strips, and now I am working on this guy. This is the carbon fiber airbox from Aerosport, and initially I just chopped a little bit off to fit the cowl on and get an idea where it looks. This line here is where the aluminum one ends, and then they want you to put these strips forward. So I kind of like where this is sitting, and I kind of like where this is sitting. They're all both about an inch away from the cowl that appears behind that little cutout. And I am going to cut this joggle, you know, so it matches straight up, and see if I can fabricate those retaining strips to hold that. There, get that cut off, sanded smooth. I also made the little retaining strips. I marked the holes where to drill, but I haven't drilled them yet. I'll show you why. Because I was gluing in these things. These are the little tubes for the camera cable, and I'm gluing in these ones right now. So I want to fit this back underneath the plane after the epoxy's cured, to make sure I'm drilling them in the right spot. So not a big project today, but at least something. Good night. Look, it's another day, and another day working on baffle seals. Still waiting for this to come in from McFarlane, and these things dried. So I stuck the camera cable through there. That worked out nice. I like that. I chopped down the airbox to the dimensions that I said, and now I'm kind of playing with how long to make the different and which direction to face the different baffles for that. So that's today's project. Baffle, baffle, baffle. Seal, seal, seal. Well, this certainly wasn't a very exciting day as far as productivity goes, but I feel like I have made progress on what I think is a pretty daunting task. This thing just kind of needs to fit in there perfect, so it's a matter of bolting this thing on and off a dozen or so times, putting the cowl on and off a dozen or so times, and I used up a good amount of the orange silicone to make templates to get this right, or at least what I think is right. I know in the instructions they want you to put those strips. I didn't quite see the reason for them. If you remember, I originally had this bottom quite a bit longer, so I took 2 chops off of that and literally ended up about where the factory one is, meaning the aluminum one that comes with the RANS kit. So for anybody who's interested, if you're using the carbon fiber box, this is about 1 5/8 from the bend to where I cut it, and that fit pretty good. And then I added an inch of silicone that tucks right underneath the lip up front. I trimmed that lip a little bit too. On the sides, if you measure it this way, we have about the same inch. If you measure it this way, it's closer to 1 3/4. 3/8. Yeah, 1 3/8. On the top, because of the way it slips into the cowl, I made this thing 2 inches. You can make it here, but it kind of just sits on top of that. These are 7 inches wide because that's the box there, and then I made little notch outs for it to sit on top. These ones here, the inside is 2.5 inches wide, but I made this 2 5/16, basically subtracting the thickness of 2 of these. And yeah, that's about it. You know, 2 clecos here, 4, 4, 2, and I'll show you how it fits in the cowl. So yeah, so basically it kind of sits in there pretty snug, just like that. So pretty happy with it. With all that being said, I'm gonna use these as templates to make it out of the black stuff. Not that you really need, I think any vibration is probably this way, but it'll be consistent with the rest of it. All right, I'm babbling, I'm tired. I've been on this thing for probably like 10 hours today. And like I said, not a whole bunch of productivity. Somebody who knew what they were doing probably would do this in an hour or two. But I guess that's the fun of it. Anyway, for now, good night. One more shot with it installed before I go to bed. So yeah, this lip kind of just tucks underneath here. I think I opened this up to what seems to be a good opening. Not too big, not too small. It's very hard to use any kind of reference point in here because it's not straight. Inside here, you can see how the top flap just kind of sits on that. The side flaps, it's probably hard to see, but they go right in there on both sides. They kind of just sit and rest up against that. And then the bottom flap just kind of tucks in underneath there by a little bit. All right, here we go. Now I can do that, I can finish that, and I can finish that, assuming the black stuff came in. So hopefully there's a light at the end of the cowl seal tunnel. All right, now good night. Looky, the black stuff came in. Time to do more seals. Woohoo. Well, if I was doing this for a living, I'd probably have trouble justifying to a customer why his baffle seals cost $5,000. But they look good, right? And I'm not done yet. That's the best part, and counting. But here's what I did. Again, spent all day. Not all day, I started in the afternoon, but I redid this because the slippery side needs to rub up against the cowl, and I had that backwards before. I continued my theme with the rounded corners, so I think it gives it a nice finished look. Got this done, this done, this done, this done, this done, and I thought for sure I was at least gonna finish this, and I still got to do that. I'm thinking that's easy because that's a template that actually fits. I can just copy them. But I'll leave that for tomorrow. Good night. Well, it's another day, and guess what I'm doing? How did you know? I didn't record anything because this was literally like just hours of take it on, put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off, measure this, cut this, do this. But I did get it all done. I think I'm ready to rivet them in and doing final fit number 250, and also put the propeller back on just to make sure that, because I cut these tolerances pretty close, it does make getting this cowling on, a little more difficult than without the propeller, but it does go on. I did put the relief cut in here too, and then I was trying to figure out, because I'm going to trim, a gentle V in there, and basically what I did is I reached up inside the cowling when it was laying in position, put a piece of tape on it, and you can see the little marks. So I'm going to take probably a 1/16 off of either side, and that should make a perfect fit. And got this done down here too, all with the black ones, traced them, modified them slightly, but pretty much ready to go. So here we are, riveting time, I think. All right, well that seems like an end of an era, considering how long it took me to complete this. And overall, real happy. Also finished this guy up, so I think we can put baffle seals on the checked off list. On these ones I put the rivet heads, nice heads, the aerodynamic heads on the inside. On this one I went the opposite for two reasons, because you can't reach inside here. And also you have the carbon fiber. Originally, actually, if you look closely in the video, I did it backwards, and you could kind of see that it was, I don't know, making the carbon fiber, it didn't look good. So I did it this way. I'll show you a close-up. So yeah, I did these screws here. Again, the cowl ramps are right here, so they rub up against this. This part here is probably unnecessary, but it just kind of ties it all together. This is about a 1/2 inch overhang. It probably could be a little bit longer because when you're putting a cowl on, sometimes it wants to go on the inside of it, but I'm sure over time it'll all fit into place. This is the slippery side rubbing against the cowl. This is the slippery side rubbing against the cowl. These were the longest pieces, with that side being a little bit longer, so I put one of those fancy screws in there. Like I said, I did the relief on there. I was able to put the top cowl on and look from underneath, so you can see actually exactly where it's rubbing, and or not rubbing, but you know, sealing. This seems to sit real nice. So the part that's not perforated with this scored is a little stiffer, so kind of worked out good because it keeps it up and then bends where it needs to. Same thing along here. This is probably the shortest part. This could use to be maybe a 1/4 inch longer, but these sides keep it down. So this is kind of a straight up tight seal. Same thing here. Oh, in the corners, because it's going through the hold down, the baffle, and 2 sets of gaskets, I used a AAPQ 42. Everything else are the AVEX rivets. I did the same relief here because where it bends, it was kind of kinking. So remember, I measured it and just cut a very slight V out of it. This overlaps this way too when the cowl's on. Looks really, really good. So overall, I'm happy with it. I might do a little review video on this Cowl Saver because I've seen absolutely nothing other than their demonstration videos. But as far as the build goes, this is the end of the video for Cowl Savers and gluing in the video camera thing, which I don't know if I showed that actually finished. All right, so anyway, the front camera is here, and then I just took these little tubes, flared the ends and glued them in with the 2216. That loop there is kind of to get the wire down there, but also so you can adjust how much length you want on this end. It was a little bit long. So hopefully that's simple and works. Doesn't interfere with anything. But for now, another long day. Good night. And again, this is just me doing it, not an instructional video. Do your own thing, do your own research, figure it out. But if it helps somebody, great. Happy building. See ya.